Who needs the proper content to drive enough interest so they can have a platform that rivals YouTube? Well, one of the richest men in the world, who's not named Rothschild, Elon Musk, he needs content for Twitter, which he's trying to turn into a rival for YouTube. Caitlin Clark is that content. Elon Musk and the right partners have enough money to pull this off. It would be...
Although Caitlin Clark has long been the talk of women's basketball for her unmatched skill on the court and massive popularity, she's recently made headlines for an entirely different reason. Elon Musk has offered her a $10 million endorsement deal.
What we need is an XX league. See how that works? An XX basketball league. On X. See, now you got two X's that equal women, a basketball league that is broadcast.
Yes, you heard that right. Elon Musk, the man who has revolutionized industries like technology and space exploration, is now stepping into the world of women's basketball.
That hasn't turned a profit in 27 years. This is an opportunity for someone, for us, to build a women's basketball league around.
This offer isn't just about money. It's about upending the entire system. And it has everyone wondering if this is the end of the WNBA as we know it. Will Caitlin Clark accept the deal and leave the WNBA, or will it force the league to change its values? Gamers, let's examine this in detail, chapter by chapter.
To build a platform that rivals YouTube. Who needs the proper content to drive enough interest so they can have a platform that rivals YouTube? Well, one of the richest men in the world, who's not named Rothschild, Elon.
To begin with, why Elon Musk?
A tech billionaire and a women's basketball star may seem like a strange combination, but Musk is known for his innovative strategies and forward thinking. He likely sees what we all see. More than just a phenomenal athlete, Caitlin Clark is a household name who draws massive attention. Musk probably views her as an opportunity to make a significant impact, not only in sports but also in business.
Now, think about it.
Although progress in women's sports has improved, it still doesn't come close to what male athletes experience. Women's basketball, in particular, has long struggled for recognition and fair pay. Musk's massive offer is like tossing a pebble into a still pond. The ripples will be felt for a long time. The WNBA has been growing steadily thanks to stars like Clark, who bring new visibility to the league. But in reality, these players earn only a fraction of what their NBA counterparts do. For example, while Aya Wilson, one of the WNBA's top stars, makes around $225,000 a year, that figure pales compared to the millions NBA players take home. And that's exactly where the conflict lies. Musk's offer shined a spotlight on this massive pay gap. Clark could earn more from this one endorsement deal than she would in several years of playing in the WNBA, and that's a game changer. Now, everyone's asking why WNBA players still aren't being paid what they truly deserve. And if Caitlin Clark accepts Musk's offer, will she leave the WNBA altogether? It's not just about the money, though. Clark has always been vocal about wanting to be part of the movement that gives women's basketball the respect and recognition it deserves. But she also has to think about her own career and financial future. This could be the start of a major shift, encouraging more high-profile figures in the tech world to step in. If other big endorsements follow, we could see a real transformation, one where elite female athletes finally get the credit and compensation they've long earned. However, let's also look at this from the WNBA's perspective. The league has made real progress in raising salaries, expanding teams, and promoting players, but there's still a long way to go. With someone like Elon Musk entering the picture, the WNBA could either step up its game or risk losing one of its brightest stars. Since its founding in 1996, The WNBA has built a loyal fan base, yet it continues to struggle for the same level of attention, investment, and respect that men's sports receive. There's already talk among players about opting out of the current collective bargaining agreement when it expires in 2025, as many are unhappy with their pay. Musk's massive endorsement deal only highlights the growing concern that the WNBA isn't doing enough to keep its stars satisfied. Imagine this. Clark walks away from the WNBA after signing the deal, setting a precedent for others to follow. What would that mean for the league? Could it survive without its biggest names? Or would it collapse under the weight of the widening pay gap and Musk's bold offer, forcing the WNBA to finally take the steps needed to keep its players happy? But the WNBA's problems go beyond salaries. Players have long complained about travel conditions, lack of marketing, and limited exposure. Musk's move makes one thing clear. These athletes have immense value, and if the league doesn't start treating them like the stars they are, they might seek opportunities elsewhere. At the center of it all is Caitlin Clark, who now faces the toughest decision of her career. She's at the top of her game, breaking records and building a global following, and this offer could set her up for life. But it also comes with a crossroads. Will she stay loyal to the WNBA, continuing to fight for change within the system? Or will she take the $10 million, step into the world of high-profile endorsements, and leave the league behind? It's not an easy choice, and whatever she decides could reshape the future of women's basketball. And then there's the question everyone's asking. What is Elon Musk's real goal here? Is he aiming to disrupt the sports industry the same way he transformed space and technology? Or is this a calculated business move, a strategic partnership to align himself with one of the fastest rising stars in sports? Caitlin Clark now has a $10 million endorsement deal on the table, a rising career, and a decision that could upend women's basketball for years to come. But the big question remains, how will this affect the WNBA, and what does it mean for the league and its players moving forward? Whatever happens, Clark's position at the center of this conversation is already shaking things up, and the WNBA has no choice but to pay attention. We left off discussing how Musk's endorsement could ignite a new era in women's sports, but now let's look at the real implications. The WNBA has always faced an uphill battle for attention, investment, and respect. While stars like Clark have brought new visibility to the league, the reality is that the WNBA still operates on a fraction of the NBA's budget, and that's a serious issue when it comes to retaining top talent. Imagine this. Caitlin Clark, one of the league's brightest stars, leaves to pursue bigger opportunities outside the WNBA. What kind of message would that send to other players? It's not just about her choice. It's about the ripple effect it could trigger throughout the entire league. If the WNBA can't compete with the kind of money that tech giants like Musk are offering, other top players might start looking for similar opportunities. This could lead to a talent drain, where the WNBA loses its biggest names to outside endorsements or even other leagues. And let's be honest, if Clark walks away, it would be a massive blow to the league's credibility. She's not just another player. She's a game changer, an athlete who draws fans, viewers, and sponsors. Losing her would force the WNBA to rethink everything, from how it operates to how it compensates its players. But what if this story goes beyond Caitlin Clark? What if this is the beginning of something much bigger, a new trend where major corporations and tech entrepreneurs start investing heavily in women's sports? Musk's involvement might just mark the beginning of a new era, one that could completely reshape the landscape of women's athletics. Although women's basketball has long been underappreciated, wealthy investors are finally beginning to recognize its potential, and that could lead to a massive wave of funding for both basketball and women's sports in general. But wait, there's more. What if Caitlin Clark's decision to leave the WNBA sparks the creation of a rival league? It might sound far-fetched, but think about it. The WNBA has dominated women's basketball for decades, yet it's often criticized for low salaries and a lack of support compared to the NBA. If Musk and other major investors got involved, they could potentially build a new league that offers better pay, more opportunities, and greater visibility for women's basketball players. Such a move would force the WNBA to either adapt or risk becoming irrelevant. Imagine a world where top stars like Caitlin Clark, Aya Wilson, and others jump ship to a league that finally treats them like the stars they are. That would be a game changer, not just for women's basketball, but for the entire sports industry. Now, let's look at what this means for Caitlin Clark personally. Accepting this deal from Elon Musk would set her up for life. It's an enormous amount of money, enough to give her complete financial freedom to focus on her game without worrying about paychecks. But it's also a risky move. If she walks away from the WNBA, she could face backlash from fans who feel she's abandoning the league. And what if these new opportunities don't turn out as she hopes? It's a lot to weigh. On the other hand, staying in the WNBA means continuing to fight for better pay and conditions from within the system. Clark has always been vocal about wanting to elevate women's basketball, and staying could allow her to keep driving that mission forward. But it also means turning down a massive payday and possibly missing out on even bigger opportunities outside the league. It's a tough decision, one that will have major consequences no matter what she chooses. But one thing is certain, Caitlin Clark now stands at the center of a conversation that's far bigger than just her career. It's about the future of women's sports, the role of big business in athletics, and whether the WNBA can evolve to truly meet the needs of its players. As we wrap up this part of the story, let's take a moment to think about what it all means in the bigger picture. We're witnessing a pivotal moment in women's basketball, one that could redefine the sport for generations to come. Whether Caitlin Clark stays with the WNBA or accepts Elon Musk's offer, the decisions made in the coming months will leave a lasting mark on the league, its players, and the direction of women's sports as a whole. And this is just the beginning. You won't want to miss what happens next. Stay tuned as we follow Caitlin Clark's journey to see where it leads. Will she use this $10 million opportunity to transform women's basketball from the outside in, or remain in the WNBA to fight for change from within? If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to stay up to date on the latest in women's basketball and beyond. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.